I was going to say good morning, but it's starting to run past us. We all obviously sit here in America in what has been known as the greatest deliberative body in this democracy, and in a nation that is the strongest, the wealthiest, the most powerful, the most influential nation that the world has ever seen. America's military might has no rival. However, America's moral obligation continues to be called into question. And I want to talk a little differently about something that doesn't get the attention that it should get, and I want to associate myself with the remarks from my colleague from Rhode Island. Globally, over 122 million people are forcibly displaced all over the globe due to conflict, due to persecution, due to human rights violations. They are in the Sudan, they're in Syria, they're in the Ukraine, they're in Myanmar, they're in the Congo, and they are in Gaza. And so I want to take the time that I have to talk about Gaza, since no one seems to want to talk about it anymore, now that there is a tentative ceasefire. But there's also a number of children, teenagers, seniors, and others that are living in Walla. They have no real medical care that is sufficient for their needs. They are displaced because of this humanitarian crisis that we see. And for months, the issue was that Hamas was not allowing people in. Well, that's not the case right now. And we see what was supposed to have been tens of trucks going in each day down to a trickle, not carrying food, but carrying a lot of commercial supplies. More than 6 months into the ceasefire, about 1.7 million Gazans, Palestinians, are still living in tent camps. They're facing a surge, as you probably know, in rodent-borne disease, with reports of more than 70,000 cases of parasite infections, related illnesses, since the beginning of this year alone. Many, if not most of them, are children, young children, who are trying to find a way to survive, who are also growing up with memories of what happened to their parents, with a great deal of hatred in their heart towards America, towards Israel, toward anybody that they thought may have been a part of that. I just want to point out two things. When the 20-point peace plan was enacted and talked about by President Trump, it included point number 7, which doesn't get a lot of attention, and that is that the mandate that a full amount of aid would be sent into Gaza and into the Gaza Strip at a quantity of 600 trucks a day. It also included another point, point 8, that entry and distribution of this aid would proceed without any interference from any outside or internal force. So if we are, in fact, the strongest, the powerful, the most wealthy, the most influential nation on the face of the earth, it would seem to me that while we are doing all these other things around the globe, Mr. Secretary, that we ought to have a humane reaction and response to what we helped to create there. I mean, it is not just war-torn, it's ravished, and people are dying every day, even as this hearing takes place, because they can't get medical attention. And so Gaza is not over with. That chapter and page is not turned. Those persons, the Palestinians that live there, really need help. And I would strongly urge the State Department, in addition to what you may be doing, to have someone and to have a process to come up with ways through UNRWA and other organizations to meet the need. Many of the international organizations are facing a monetary crisis, and so they don't have the ability to do what they are empowered to do. But this is still the United States of America, and we still have an obligation. And we cannot let children die en masse because we think that a ceasefire has created a new reality. The reality is still the same on the ground there. So I would urgently ask that when you come back before the committee, that you try to address that, or even before then, or if you want to share some information, please do, because time is of the essence. I yield back.
Representative Lawler.
Mr.